Mike Holmgren was on with us, and he told us a
he
fun...
makes up so many stories.
Okay,
man.
well then you can verify.
He's a fabricator of all kinds.
Okay, you can verify this story then.
I just know, but I'm only saying that because he knows way too much about me.
Do you have a time you can remember where he was just wearing you out?
Yeah, but the biggest one was in college. I had Steven at BYU.
Right.
So I'm on the field. Norm Chow, remember that name?
Why?
Norm was upstairs.
USC.
And he was, USC, and he'd call the play down to me, and I'd send the play in. Well, we're playing a team that we had to win near the end, and Steve's not at practice. He's not there. I asked Lavelle Edwards, who was a wonderful man. He was the head coach. Yep. Where's Steve? Well, he's back in New York doing a thing for the Heisman Trophy, a pre-Heisman Trophy thing. I said, what? I just couldn't believe it. He said, I couldn't believe that. That's foreign. And so he comes back a couple of days later. I go, did you have fun in New York? And I was kind of mad at him. And he goes, Anyway, so we get to the game. There's a big play, and the receiver's 10 yards in the clear right in front of me. And he throws it someplace else, incomplete. And I call timeout. Now, Lavelle Edwards was the only one that could call timeout. I call timeout. This clock stops. Steve looks over at me. I go, get over here. Get over here right now. He comes over, starts walking at me, and he stops. I said, get your bad language. Get over here. And Lavelle's coming, walking towards me. He goes, who called timeout? Who called timeout? And Steve goes to him, he did, and I'm not coming over there until he calms down. I go, what are we, in the third grade? Get over here.
Okay, I forget what's probably, it must have been your senior season, end of the year. You had to go to New York for a Heisman photo shoot.
Yeah.
Mike's saying that he wasn't all that thrilled with you going back to New York, so you come back. He wasn't super happy. You guys were playing a game. He didn't know who it was against, but you guys needed to win the game at the end of the year. So he said, you drop back. He was on the sideline. There was a wide open receiver right in front of him. You chose to go somewhere else. It was an incomplete pass. He said, so he calls timeout. And he says, nobody calls timeout except for Lavelle. He goes, but I called the timeout. He goes, I was so mad. And he goes, and I called Steve over. And I was like, get over here. Get over here. And Lavelle walks down and he goes, who called the timeout? And you said, he did, and I'm not going over there until he calms down. True story.
It's Mike a little better than that because Mike was somebody, and you remember his he was a big Norwegian dude. Like,
yes,
his neck was like, he was big, and we used to joke. But because you ever throw a pass, he didn't. It wasn't. It was, I don't know how to call it. It was a short motion without a lot of power. And we're like, Mike, for a huge man, you really don't get much out of that. And so anyway, he's such a big guy, and he'd get whenever he get mad, his head would start to get filled with blood.
Red, yeah, I remember.
Bright red
would expand. And I mean, I don't know. I'm always looking for trouble. And so he did that. And so he's like, and his head started to get bigger and the neck got out and everything. And they're like, he's telling you to come over there. Like, I'm like, no, he's got to chill. He's got to relax. And that just inflamed him more. I swear the reason why he remembers the story is it's probably as close to death as he's ever been. Because the blood pressure had to have built to a point where it might have come out of the top of his head. And Lavelle did walk down there to try to go, are you okay? You look like you're gonna die. And he goes, he's on the corner. And I'm like chuckling. I'm like, holy cow, this is actually working. This is actually. How many times do you get to pull a little stunt and it actually works?
That is beautiful.
The timeout goes by. We never did go over there. The timeout goes by. He calls next play, and we go down and we because what I wanted to tell him is relax. We're fine. I screwed it up. I'll fix it. I don't need to have a lecture from the Norwegian hammer thrower. I don't need that.
Norwegian shot putter.
I don't need the hammer thrower, dude.
That is a little
short arm
speech. I don't want the speech. I don't need the speech. I'm not ready for the speech. And it's not going to help me with this speech. Like, I got it. I screwed it up. Go on, move on. Move on. There's nothing to see here, Tom.
Nothing to see here. He's told this story before, and you've told it, and Brent tells it all the time, too, and Brent loves telling the story about how he told him he was going to room with you when you first got there. And
Mike
Brent, it took Brent 3 turns to realize it wasn't a request. It was an order.
No,
How could you do that to Brent, Mike? How could you do that to him?
Oh, yeah, I feel so bad. I can hardly sleep at night these days thinking about it. Honestly.
Now, give me what was in your mind. Why did you want him with Steve, and what benefit did you see coming from it?
Well, I saw Steve. Steve was new to the team, and I was trying to figure out, rooming with each other at training camp, that's a bigger deal than people realize, And so I thought he'd be the perfect guy. Mm-hmm. And, Steve would be a little nervous. He'd be coming in. But the irony is when I do bed check, because we were assigned bed check every 4 days, I guess. So Sherm Lewis and I do bed check. I go into their room. Here we are in the 3rd grade. Steve, turn out the light. It's your turn, Brent. No, it's your turn. And they'd argue. I go, gee, I'll turn out the light,
Well, Mike knew me very well. I love him for knowing, all seriousness, kidding aside, he was a guy that really understood me. And he's like, Brent, you got to help this guy out. He has needs. You gotta hold this guy's hand, man. You gotta hang with him. And my Brent's like, no, it's me and Raffman. We're
planning this.
We got a TV. We got pay-per-view. Mike's got no, bro. You're with Steve, and there's no TV. And I tried to make it better right away. All right, yeah. That's a good one. Mike's a good man.
Well, except for the fact, how could you not, as grown men, those hotel rooms aren't that big. I remember being in those hotel rooms. It wasn't like you're staying in suites. You're staying in hotel rooms. Why was it that big a deal for you guys to turn out the lights?
The whole thing is weird. We're going to come check on you?
That's what I said.
Are you in your room?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing. That's why I think when you get 35 or 36 years old, and some of this stuff's happening, and you're like, what am I doing? That's why Tom Brady at 45 is the most amazing thing in the world that Tom Brady had. They went around, are you in your room?
Hey, Tom, you in there?
Yeah, right. I'm still here, and I'm still okay at 45 years old. Like, it does get emotionally, gets kind of embarrassing at some level, because the stupid stuff that they do in football, and the lights out. Like, okay. What?
Yeah.
Lights out. Okay, we're tucked in, coach. Yeah, nice. But honestly, it was Brent's, and you can ask him about his snoring. His snoring is epic. It was epic. And I swear to you, that's the old Super Bowl story when I dragged, that story, right?
Uh-huh.
I dragged because I was like, I can't sleep because I got to freaking hear him snore, and then I'm going to be okay. It's like, I gotta be partners with this snore,
That is so good. Hey, you know what? I bet you, though, when you went home, you had a hard time sleeping because you didn't get the snore.
I don't get the snore.
Yep.
Yeah, I got reconditioned. Yeah, no.
You gotta rewire the brain.
Rewire.
Oh, man.